Hello, welcome to my channel where I do DIYs, decor makeovers, thrift flips, and home decor on a budget. Enjoy today's video. Give it a thumbs up, please.
Hello, welcome to Late Night Creations. I'm Kendra and I'm so glad you're here. Today I'm participating in the 5 Under 5 challenge. You take 5 projects, make them for under $5. Easy peasy for this budget-friendly crafter. So let's get started on the projects.
Okay, we're gonna get started with this little chunky mason jar I got at Dollar Tree a Christmas or two ago. I ordered a whole case of them because I couldn't find them anywhere, and so I'm still using them, so that was handy. So I'm just gonna give it a solid coat of white chalk paint. I'm taking some gray with the white still in my brush and just giving it a little bit of shadowing to give it a little bit of dimension. And you can do as little or as much of this as you like. Sometimes I go back in and add some more dry brushing later. I had this multi-pack of stars that I've used over and over and over with my Patriotic DIYs, and I think I got a multi-pack of them at Hobby Lobby. I'm painting some red and some blue with chalk paint, and going to lay those aside to dry while I go back to my jar. So I have this aluminum cookie sheet, baking pan, whatever you want to call it, from Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to cut out a little piece and trace around the top of this mason jar to create a lid. And you can just trace it and it makes like a little indentation, and it's real easy to cut a straight line because those little divots in there are all in a straight line. So I don't want to keep those divots in there, so you can use a number of things to smooth those divots out. You could use a spatula, you could use that little scraper that came with the rub-on transfers, but I really prefer to use my Cricut scraper. Now I'm going to get a straight edge and I'm going to use my scoring tool. I think I'm using my scoring tool there. Nope, I'm using that little transfer thing. I'm trying to make some lines in it to, I'm going to change to my pencil. You just use whatever works. I'm going to make some little lines in there to make it look like those lines that are in the lid of a mason jar. So here we go. There it is. I'm trying to make it all however it's supposed to look, however I want it to look. I'm going to use some of this tacky glue because honestly, with the hot glue, that gets really hot. I do use it with the aluminum from time to time, but I'm going to use a little elephant chalk paint by Waverly, and I'm going to use a stencil brush because it's kind of chippy, and I'm just going to, dirty it up a little right after I protect my white paint with some painter's tape. And I'm just going to kind of brush it on, wipe it off, brush it on. Oh, need a little dry brush on there. I told you sometimes I go back and do that. Just give it a little dimension. Now I'm going to take some white chalk paint and dry brush with an old beat up brush because it was small. I needed a small one. And I'm just kind of dry brushing over these with no rhyme or reason. And it took me a minute to kind of get the rhythm of how I wanted them to look, but it doesn't even really matter if they all look the same. It actually looks better if they don't all look the same. Then I'm going back to that Aleene's tacky glue, craft glue, and I'm just randomly putting all these red, white, and blue stars in the mason jar. I kind of like them off to one side. You do it however you like to do it. But this is, where do I put that red one? Where do I put it? Nope, not gonna put it. Changed my mind. Okay, so that's what I'm gonna do. Now I'm gonna wrap some twine. I've been using this red, white, and blue twine on every project because I am in love with it. I got it on Amazon, and for the roll that I got, it's huge. It's a very good price. Now I'm gonna fray it, unroll it and fray it, and I tried to put a bow on. I can't remember if I decided I liked the bow or not. We'll see. It's been a minute since I did the DIYs. But I did like the way that it looked frayed and, doesn't that look cute? Yep, but I'm making a mess everywhere, so I got my little makeup brush out that I got from Dollar Tree, and I like to dust it off with that in case I have some paint or something on my hand. I don't get it dirty. Yeah, I think I decided that I like it like that instead of, well, what do I decide? I don't know. I don't even remember. I don't know. What did I do here? I'm at a loss for words. I think I just added an extra piece. I added an extra piece of just the twine in there without the bow. Yep, looks cute. So that's what I decided to do. I was kind of confused for a moment, which it doesn't take much to confuse me. Okay, so this is part of a challenge, the 5 Under 5 I've been doing for several months with the hosts, Emily from Farm Charm Chic and Missy from Crafty Cove DIY, with the guest host this month, Tammy from the Rusted Willow. All great creators. Check out their playlists that will be linked in the description box below. Okay, next DIY. I have 3 little chunky pieces of wood. You could use any little pieces of wood that you have or something from Dollar Tree. These are just some little pieces that I have, and I have some red, white, and blue paint. Gonna paint 1 red, 1 white, 1 blue, and I'm also using that cookie sheet, that disposable cookie sheet. You get 2 in a pack from Dollar Tree, and I absolutely love using them on DIYs to get that metal look. And I did the sides, the top, and the back on these. And then once they were completely dry, I distressed them. I think I get that on video here in a little bit. But I'm gonna use my scraping tool to smooth out those bumps, little rivet bump things, because I wanna cut out some stars. Now I'm telling you that corrugation in the corrugated part of that cardboard makes it, can you see that those ridges that it makes in it? And I kind of like that. It makes it look like that sheet metal. So I'm using my Cricut scoring tool. It works great. Pencil works just as good. And I'm going to cut these stars out with my scissors, and it works great. Now I'm back to the elephant chalk paint for a little distressing, or it's not really, I don't guess it's distressing because it's making it look old. So it doesn't really stick to this aluminum tin very good, but just a little bit of it to make it look a little old is good. And then I'm gonna do a little brown paint to make it look a little rusty. I like the brown on there too. Now I'm gonna distress these little blocks of wood. I use my sanding block from Dollar Tree, and then when it gets old, I just get that sandpaper from Dollar Tree. That you get quite a few pieces of sandpaper in that pack. It's a really good bargain. And then I just wrap it around that block and hold it in my hand. Now I'm using this little scraps of burlap, and you could use some burlap of that wider burlap ribbon if you have that. And I just am fraying all the 4 edges and making it fit right in the middle. And I'm going to put a little hot glue on each piece of that and glue those down to each wood block as soon as I clean up my mess. And then I'm going to glue each star to the middle of the burlap. Easy DIY, but so super cute. And I use some more of that twine on these. So here I am deciding what colors I'm going to use. Do I want the blue on the red? Do I want the red on the blue? Nope, can't put the white on the white, so I better put the red on the white so I can put the white on the blue. The white's a little thicker. It's a little bit different. They didn't have it in the same brand as the red and the blue, or I ordered it at a different time. I'm not quite sure, but I just love this jute cord, jute twine in the different colors. They have it in so many different colors. And you can see those big, huge spools over there on the left of the screen. And they were like $6.99 for those huge spools. You can get them on Amazon. So here's the finished product. I think they are so cute. They stand up well by themselves. You could make them larger. You could make them, these are actually small. They're like 3-inch, so they fit on a tiered tray nicely. Okay, DIY number 3 for under $5. Okay, so I'm gonna use 2 of these little chunky mason jars this time, and I'm just gonna show you, because I haven't done this on a video in a while, that I'm just gonna cover this whole thing with a glue stick. I'm gonna use some of that brown packing paper that you wrap packages in to mail them, and put that on there. It sticks really good. This paper's kind of thin. And then I'm taking my X-Acto knife and just pressing really firmly all the way around. And that little mat I have underneath, you can get those at, you can get small ones at Dollar Tree. I had ordered mine online on Amazon, and I melted it, so I cut it down and I use it to smaller pieces. Yeah, you can see that on a video that I did where I used my heat press on it and didn't have anything under it because I was being blonde at the moment. So I'm just gonna give these a good coat of navy sides all over, and then I'm gonna take some more of those little stars. These are all the same size, and I'm going to coat them on one side with white chalk paint. And I don't even care if it's a good solid coat, if they're all coated evenly and equally, because this is just one of those projects. And they're all gonna be the same. So now I'm going to make a little crate. So I've got these jumbo craft sticks, and I ordered these online on Amazon, but you can get them at Walmart in the craft section. So I'm gonna do half of them red, half of them white, and 3 of them blue. I did not record myself painting the blue ones, but I paint both sides of the craft sticks because you're gonna be able to see both sides. Now, I didn't record doing the top of this mason jar with the aluminum because I already showed you that in the previous. So you can rewind it and watch how to do that again if you forgot. So it's easy peasy. Wrap that twine around each one of them, and gonna just tie a little bow. Just gonna tie and then just do like a little shoestring bow. Just gonna loop it through there and tie a little shoestring bow on each one. I'm gonna do the exact same thing on both of them and just have some little tails hanging down. And then what am I doing next? Yes, there's my painted sticks in blue. I'm telling you I painted them in blue because I didn't show you that. Now I'm going to put the blue ones on the bottom. This is gonna be the bottom of our crate. And I used my ruler to measure to make sure that I got them all on there evenly because you know my favorite word, cattywampus. I can get things cattywampus real quick. That's what I do because you know I just like to just do it and then weep later when I didn't measure first. So we're gonna do red, white like the stripes on the flag. I don't really know if red comes first or white comes first on the flag. I don't know. Anyway, we're gonna do a good coat of Mod Podge all over this whole thing so it'll be nice and protected. So if it gets dusty, maybe you guys don't get dust at your house, but I live in the country and we have dust at our house, and I like to dust. I don't like to dust, but I like for things to get dusted. So it works better if you have a little Mod Podge on it. So there's the final product. You can put a plant in it. You could use it for your napkins and your plasticware at a picnic. So I thought it turned out really cute. Let me know what you think. So next to DIY, I picked this up at Dollar Tree. I peeled that sand dollar off. I'm going to dry brush a heavy coat of brown paint, it's apple barrel, I think. I don't even know what color it is. It's brown. I write on the lids. You can see I write on the lids the colors so that when they're in the drawer, I can see the top of it. I'm using my scoring tool to kind of see how much I need to cut off. I use my paper cutter to cut it off, and I cut it a little bit short, so part of it that I cut off, I'm just going to use that piece. Then I decided that I needed some cardstock behind it in case you could see through it, because this came from one of the Dollar Tree calendars. It was the month of July, and they're thin. The pages are super thin, but they fit really nicely in these pictures. And so I'm going to put that, attach that right back on there. Now Sammy over at Unicorn Dust Designs had the idea. She came up with the idea. Well, I don't know if she came up with it, but I watched on her video that these calendar pages fit in this particular frame perfectly. So I had to try it out, and there you go. There's that little tassel I tried to use in a previous video on a banner, and it was way too short, so it worked perfect on this little sign. All right, DIY number 5. This is here we go with that cookie sheet again, and a sign from Easter, and it was peeling off, and it peeled off really nicely, so I just went ahead and peeled it. So I'm going to trace around that with my scoring tool, and you have to be careful with these things because this aluminum can be sharp, and it's worse than a paper cut, y'all. It's happened. In fact, in one video I have a band-aid on because I cut myself with that aluminum, so be careful. So I cut it, and then I'm kind of measuring it to make sure that it's right, and I am using hot glue, but be careful because I do have my finger protector on, because that is hot with that hot glue. It does, you'll see me in a little bit. I get my t-shirt, there we go, because it's hot. So I've gotten it all glued down now, and I'm taking my X-Acto knife and trim off the excess, and then I'm gonna take my little tool and bend it around so that, you know, it's not dangerous and cut. Now this ruler was perfect for the stripes. We're gonna make a flag out of this. Now I'm using my scoring tool to score. You could use a pencil if you don't have a scoring tool. And then I'm gonna make a portion of it for the blue and continue with the stripes. And like I said, I should have looked at a flag to see how the red and the blue, white go to make it, you know, politically correct. Seriously politically correct. But I just decided to start with the red. So I'm using a makeup sponge and some red chalk paint to go in between those lines. And if it's not perfect, that's okay, because this is a very rustic DIY. And then I decided to make that blue section a little bit smaller than I had originally traced it out. And then I'm just gonna put the blue chalk paint on there. And it, you know, like I said earlier, the paint doesn't adhere very well. So I just did the best I could. And I really like that it shows through because I want this to look like a metal sign. So it's okay if the colors kind of touch each other. And so now I'm using some more of that brown paint from Apple Barrel or one of those acrylic paints, I don't know. And I'm just giving it a little rusted effect. I did a little bit around the edges and kind of like where the paint would meet, and a little bit where maybe I didn't make the paint meet real well. And I don't know why I did 2 different browns maybe. Now I'm using one of those sticks that has the sponge on it that you paint with, and I'm just dipping it in my white paint and making some circles for the stars. And I hope this doesn't offend anyone that I didn't do stars. I'm doing circles to represent them, and I'm showing you how I buy my Mod Podge. And I've had this for over 2 years, and you can see that I've barely used any. I'm showing you with my finger how much of it I've used, and I just pour it into this smaller container. I get nut butter in these containers. You can see I eat a lot of that nut butter. I am vegetarian, and so I eat a lot of nut butter. And so now I'm covering it with Mod Podge to seal it so all that paint doesn't scratch off, because it comes off that metal really easily. So whatever your preferred method of sealing is, it definitely needs to be sealed. And we're just gonna put a twine hanger on the back. I'm gonna put a little amount of hot glue, and then I'm gonna put a lot of hot glue and just use a little piece of fabric. I've been using this, it's a canvas drop cloth, and I'm using that, just cut little pieces of it and put it over there for extra security. Thanks guys for watching this video. Give it a thumbs up.